No, the Prophet the Prophet didn't tell him what he got right and what he got wrong. So now this dream comes to the Messenger of Sallallahu. Abu Bakr asks for permission to interpret it, and the Messenger of Sallallahu gives him that permission. And then Abu Bakr interprets it, and the Messenger of Sallallahu said that some of it was right and some of it was wrong. And in that, we learn the importance of being careful when trying to interpret dreams, because it's not always understood even by the most knowledgeable of people. That's the first. The second thing that we learn from this hadith is that interpreting dreams is not necessarily the objective. And we've had this before on our channel, which is that the ulama have said if you see a dream, really the person seeing the dream, he is the one who knows whether it's a good dream or not. Because he knows his hal, he knows his situation, he knows in what context that was seen. He knows perhaps even what part of the night it was. He knows what's going on in his life, etc. That's why the scholars have said that when it comes to dream interpretation, it's extremely difficult. But if the person is getting involved in interpreting a dream, then he has to know the hal of the person, because we've given this example before, but if a person sees a black dog, that might be a good thing for one person, might be a bad thing for another one. But generally speaking, a black dog is not a good thing, but it could be a good thing depending on the context and depending on who's seen it. So the Messenger of Allah sallam tells him that you've got some of it right, you've got some of it wrong. And from that, the ulama have said that interpreting the dream is not necessarily the point, because here the Messenger of Allah doesn't tell him what he got right and doesn't tell him what he got wrong. And he even then says to him, Abu Bakr, who's the best of us, who's the best of this ummah after the Messenger of Allah, that you got some of it wrong. So if that's the case, then what about people like me and you who see dreams? And then you have people on TV channels now in Arab countries saying, just ring up and we'll interpret your dream for you. This is extremely difficult, and this is what we learn from this hadith. That if Abu Bakr can get some of it right, some of it wrong, then it isn't something that, like we have said, the objective. It isn't something that a person should be putting forth. It isn't something that a person should necessarily be asking around. What do you think this dream means, right? Because the person who sees it, initially knows whether it was a good one or a bad one. And the ibrah from it, whether it was a good one or a bad one, is for a person to turn back to Allah. If the dream was from Allah, then you go back to Allah. If the dream was from shaitan, you go back to Allah. So the end result, really, if you've seen something, whether it's a good dream or whether it's a bad dream, you turn it back to Allah irrespectively. Another thing that the ulama have gained from this hadith, now this comes in another hadith, which is that if the dream has been interpreted and it has been interpreted correctly, it is from the qada of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that He will make it come to pass in the way that it has been interpreted. But that's if it's been interpreted correctly. If it's been interpreted incorrectly, then it won't come to pass in the way that it's been interpreted. So the Messenger of Allah says to Abu Bakr, some of it is right and some of it is wrong. From this, the ulama, and like I've said from other ahadith, they have said that if the dream has been interpreted by anyone, really, the person himself or somebody else, a learned person, and they say, I think this dream could mean this and this for you, or that and that for you, and if he's right in that, then inshallah Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will make it come to pass. And like I said, there's a hadith for this, but even if you go back to Surah Yusuf itself, Yusuf alayhi salam interprets the dream, and he was right in the interpretation, and one of them is freed and the other one is killed. But the Messenger of Allah sallallahu doesn't tell him what he got right and what he got wrong. And in that, like we have said, dream interpretation is difficult, and dream interpretation is not necessarily the objective. Then Abu Bakr, at the end of the hadith, he says, by Allah, you will tell me what the dream means. And the Messenger of Allah sallallahu he said, don't swear, don't make an oath. Now, in that, there is a lot of fawaid as well, with the majority of ulama saying that making an oath is makruh. Constantly making an oath is makruh. Wallahi, 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 I'm going to do this. Wallahi, you're going to do that. But then also, within this context, Abu Bakr as-Siddiq radiallahu anh is making an oath for something which he doesn't own. He doesn't have the capability of. So if I was to say, for example, Wallahi, you're going to take me to the masjid. How can I swear an oath about somebody else and somebody else's actions? So the ulama have said that there is no oath taking in something which you do not own. Wallahi, I will sell that phone, but you don't even own it. So the Messenger of Allah is telling him, don't swear an oath for a multiple number of reasons. From that, again, the fawaid, the ulama of the fiqh of this hadith, Number one, it's makruh to swear an oath. Number two, you can't swear an oath on something that you are uncertain of, that you don't own. But also here, don't swear an oath, meaning the Messenger of Allah ﷺ is saying to him that I'm not going to tell you what you got right and what you got wrong. So these are some of the fawaid of this hadith, like as you can see here as well. It's in Sahih Bukhari and other places as well. The hadith is authentic. Barakallahu feekum. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah.